Welcome back to In the Know. Angela Dacey's here. She's a personal development expert. We've talked about red, we've talked about orange, and now it's time for yellow. Angela, welcome Garth.
Thanks.
Riley.
I'll be yellow for tonight. Thank
You're
you very
Mr.
much.
Yellow.
I am. How did I do?
You look great in yellow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
People say that look good.
Did you have to buy that yellow shirt just to be here tonight?
No, I knew we had no budget.
Angela, what is a yellow?
Well, yellows are going to be now more mentally oriented focus. So where we had Natalie and Jackie as the physical oriented colors, now we move into the mental. So these are the thinkers, the analyzers, the researchers, the dissectors, the ones that usually see the glass half full instead of half empty, high achievers. And of all the personalities, these are the human doers instead of the human beings, if you think of that. So, so Garth, how does that sit with you? Are you a human doer?
Yeah, that actually explains my last two business operations. And yeah, actually, I identify with all of that. And I remember when we took the course, as we went through it, I was like, yeah, there I am. You know, it's talk about thinking. People often say they can't keep up with the way that I take a look at something, and then all of a sudden I can see 4 or 5 steps ahead. Frustrates the heck out of people. I don't know.
That's true, yellow.
What color would that frustrate? Anybody?
Well, they frustrate a few colors, especially when you have the top chakras, which is the next show.
Okay, all right, okay, good. So yeah, so that was the other part about achieving is that, you know, I would not stop till it got done. But so that adds for imbalance too, because you know, if you don't understand how to manage that, then I think I've gotten hyper focused, which, you know, I think is great, but there's casualties all around you, family, friends, you know.
Yeah, and actually a lot of yellows will be workaholics, because the good thing from a business perspective is that if you give a task to a yellow, not only will they do it 150% better than you expected. And they will stay and work all hours of the night, as I'm sure you would agree, to get it done.
Are you a perfectionist?
I don't know if I would have to say that I want to get it right. And I don't tolerate, okay, yeah. But I always think perfectionists are a little wacky.
But you won't let something slide if you know it's wrong.
Good enough doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, and yellows will find a new direction too, and you can speak on this. Where a perfectionist usually goes one way and needs to make it right, yellows will say, that path didn't work, let's choose this path. Oh, that's not working, let's choose this path.
Yeah, which actually makes it very difficult for people. See, what we actually know is that that's a skill set, to be constantly shifting and be able to find your way through whatever troubles there are. The problem is, in the corporate world or anywhere else, they said, well, this is our directive and this is how we're going to get there. My brother-in-law said it well. He's in the military. He said, you know, we rehearse and we practice and everything else. He said, and it's all great until the first shot is fired. And then after that, it's skill, capacity, competency, and then the ability to shift. And in this economy, you want a yellow.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Very true. So give a little rundown, because I know your background. How many businesses have you had, Garth?
Well, I have to go back to pre-medication or post-medication.
Because yellows, you'll find, are the biggest entrepreneurs, because they love to achieve.
Innovative?
Innovative, self-reliant, right? They usually have confidence, self-esteem. They're great salespeople, great CEOs. They're great thinkers, developers.
Lots of the same traits people that would say ADHD has.
Well, it's true. Your brain never stops, right?
That's right. That's right. No, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's not a curse to have it. It's one of those things that your brain could process and it could keep going. So it frustrates people who are very linear. But in this economy like this, is about, you know, keep moving. How do we innovate? How many businesses have I had? I've had a few. I've gotten involved in some things, I didn't like them, and I get rid of them pretty quick.
Right. which
is often people, so they get into it, they got to, okay, I got to hold on to it. Well, you know, it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Sometimes you should get off before you get wet.
So
I will say yellows have a good sense of humor. And they always see the positive in things, right?
Yeah, actually, that's true. In fact, and that's a fault. Because often I found in some of my business transactions, my latest one, was I wanted it to be so positive that even though when I look back, I could see there are all the red flags. But I could go, oh, I can get around that. I can get around that. So people that are yellow, I think now that if I had to coach them now, and I'm going to say you should say the same, is like when you start seeing red flags, pay attention. Not that there's anything wrong with red, apparently. Okay.
So do you find it difficult, because your brain is always moving,
Right.
do you find it difficult to relax?
Yes. Till recently, yes.
And you can even hear how fast he speaks. And I'll admit, I'm a yellow personality too. And
Well, I can associate with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not entirely, but I'm a busybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't do yoga, because I'm lying there and I'm thinking, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? What should I be doing?
Like, you're gonna do yoga.
And I want to do it, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you feel, and this is important, I think it's why it's important to take courses like this, is where you can find your peace and get rid of your guilt. Because, you know, you'll be sitting with one of your friends, and what's wrong with you? And then you're like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I shut this thing off? And then, you know, you start to do things. I think people could have a tendency to try something that may not be healthy for them, and to solve that problem. You don't have to solve it at all. It's a skill, it's a gift, and let's start using it instead of getting
Right.
frustrated. But you know who gets frustrated by it? If your immediate supervisor is not the same color as you, you're gonna drive them over the wall.
Right.
But yet, wouldn't you want a yellow on your team?
So let's talk really briefly before we run out of time on
Okay, keep it.
judgment. No, it's good. We get a lot in with yellow. I just want to mention judgment, because judgment's the opposite for a yellow. So tell me how much you can judge yourself, or you are worried about other people's judgment in your process. Which is
you know,
the reason why they're high achievers.
Yeah, I've always been I've worried about, not worried about, but when someone's judging me, I'm always thinking, how could we have done it better? And if I'm going to be judged on this, is this a piece that I can work on? And if someone gives me a criticism, I don't get mad about it. I go, okay, how do I take this and never let that happen again? And that causes no sleep.
Yeah.
You
But
analyze.
yes.
And overanalyze.
Yeah, I'll leave a gig if I've done a speaking appointment and say, okay, what could I have done better? Even though if it went great, I'm like, okay, that's good, but what could I have done better to make it even better for those people? So
And that's
you
a
never.
yellow.
So
you
you're
never see-
really your own worst critic.
Absolutely. I would say I'm my biggest bully.
Yeah, and that's a yellow for you. So what would you want people to know about dealing with a yellow when it comes to relationships, whether it's employee-employer, or if it's spousal, or if it's
Well, okay, so
friendship?
I would say that if an employer, if you need fuel in the tank, and then you want to get a yellow in there, you also want to be able to understand them, because they will not operate like you. They won't see it like you. And so what happens is then they get frustrated, because most of us get frustrated with people who are not like us. But if we're gonna, they're playing the right position, it's great. Secondly is that the spouse has to really know that the yellow behaves this way. Now here's the deal. The yellow doesn't get off for not being able to behave. When the yellow is being called on the fact that it's maybe a little manic, or they're going too far down the road, it should be an agreement that they have a way to come back and bring it back to center. So it's the knowledge of how it works and how it interacts with you. So if you're whatever other color you are, or there's somebody else, say, look, this doesn't match for me, this is my needs, this is your needs, how do we meet? Good news is that you actually will find a middle ground.
Right.
Instead of you getting mad at me and me at you, we'll go, here's the measurement, how do we get there? It's easy.
Meet me halfway.
And actually, when you facilitate this, you do a brilliant job of that, by the way, because you just actually make people feel comfortable that they can be that without being judged.
All right. Thanks so much, Garth.
Yeah, it's all good. Anything want me to paint the worm on here?
Yellow. We'll paint it yellow.
We need a few more shows just to pop into. That's all. You'll have it whipped up like this.
Thanks so much. If you have any questions about red, yellow, or orange, give us a call. We'll be right back with more colors, more information here on In the Know.